Zoey went for that missile drop kick, and I believe Zoey...
Hey guys, this is the Locker Room. Today we're going to talk about, is this the end of Zoey Stark, her run in WWE due to her most recent injury on Monday Night Raw? Let's check out more Toss Ring Scandal, aka KDH.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey guys, we're here at the Locker Room. We're here to talk about, is this the end of Zoey Stark's career? Is this a career-ending injury for Zoey Stark? Get the likes as we come to the Locker Room. We about to air some dirty laundry on this one. Now, Zoey Stark, we know she has been off TV for a while as far as having a match goes. She hasn't wrestled much. We've seen her backstage segments here and there, but it seems like Zoey Stark can't catch a break for anything, because we know recently before her match where she got injured, she was in a stable where most of the people in the stable except for her were released, like Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville. But we know that Zoey Stark, however, she did return to WWE. She was in a Money in the Bank qualifying match for this year's Money in the Bank in July, and she got hurt at the very beginning of the match again, a triple threat against Kairi, Sane, and Rhea Ripley. And when she got hurt, she couldn't even continue on. We immediately saw a ref get a doctor in there. The ref helped her out, and that pretty much was the end of that. And Zoey Stark now is out of commission. We don't know how long she's going to be out for. We don't know what's going to happen next, but it's not looking good. I know there were tweets here. I know people on social media, they said she's an unrated performer. Hope she get well soon. One of the best respected wrestlers to keep going out, to do what she do. And she is one of the best on Raw. That's what this person said here. Then we had the people in WWE. They talked about her. We had, of course, Rhea Ripley. She talked about her. She said good things about her. Said professional wrestling can be real, can be dangerous. Tonight continue to prove that. Anything can happen. Wish her a speedy recovery. Then we also had from Kairi Sane saying, I hope we get ready to face each other again when you're ready. Wish you a smooth recovery. Now, Kairi Sane and Rhea Ripley, like I said, they were both in the match. They was in it with it when it actually happened. And then also we had other women speak on it, like as well. We had Natalya saying, I love you, Zoey Stark. I'm keeping you in my prayers. So a lot of people, reached out to Zoey Stark, hoping she gets better with her recovery. So hopefully she does get better. And then we also all had Bayley also speak on. She came on and saying as well that, she hopes, said Zoey put the heart there. But hopefully, I really hope that Zoey Stark does get better. It's a sad thing because this is not her first injury. If you guys remember back at NXT 2.0 era days, this is shortly the same year Zoey Stark debuted in WWE back in 2021. Now, during the episode of NXT 2.0 Backstage, Zoey, who was one half of the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, she was attacked backstage by Toxic Attraction. It seemed like it was storyline, but it was legit injury. Now, this is, like I said, she held this NXT Women's Tag Team belt alongside then Io Shirai. We all know it's Io Sky right now. And this caused Zoey Stark to be out for 8 months. But she talked about that in an interview about that injury. It was bad injury.
Made your Christmas fantastic.
Oh, it was great, yeah. Having to get on an airplane and with a... That was an experience.
Totally awesome. But you were back by the summer. I mean, I'm no doctor, but that's a relatively quick turnaround. So the recovery process had to have gone extremely well then.
So they were thinking that I would be out for at least a year. And when the doctor told me that, I was like, no, it's not happening. There's no way I'm going to let that happen. I need to be back within 8 months. She said it's not going to happen.
So was it just sheer will and determination, a little bit of luck? How'd you pull that one off?
I got to give a lot of credit to my physical therapist, Lauren. She was absolutely amazing, and I had to have been very hard to deal with because I needed to be there every single day, multiple hours a day, and she would tell me to relax. I can't relax. She doesn't know this yet, but I even did some rehab at home, which I'm pretty sure I wasn't allowed to do.
Well, hey, if you're watching this.
So she probably, yeah, totally. She'll be like, what? really, but it worked, right? I came back 8.5 months, a lot earlier than what they expected. At first, I said 6 months, and that just didn't happen. So 8.5, I was happy with that.
Now, you didn't stay away while you were gone. You worked out as a producer for a little bit, kind of give you a different look at the business from a different angle, different lens.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you learned in particular that you have now been able to use that has made you a better performer since you've come back in the ring?
Producing's hard. That's gave me a whole new respect for that. Matt Bloom, Coach Bloom, he gave me the opportunity to really sit there and shadow a few people to figure out how it all really works out, and it just shows everything in a different light of how things work and how to tell a story. At that now, even as a performer, I don't think as a normal just performer. I'm thinking of TV, how the producers work, and I work a lot with Johnny Moss, and he's amazing. So it changed everything, story wise, and how I perform, and every little bit. So it taught me a lot inside of the ring and out.
Yeah, I don't think the casual viewer or even those who look at professional wrestling in a negative light, they don't realize how much the work, but how much just of a mental game putting on a basic match is.
Right.
Like, this isn't about me, but like I trained for a year, and just going through it, and it's like just figure from ring placement to okay, where's the hard camera? There's so much that goes into it, and you discovered even more that went into it after.
Yes, yeah, and then I was even able to sit in the truck where the director's at and watch how he does everything, and you just learn so much more when you put yourself in those situations, and everything's in a different light at that point. You don't look at it the same way anymore, because now you're thinking, okay, that camera's over there, that camera's over here. If I'm doing something, I need to be facing this way, and like you're breaking it all down.
Now, I promise I'll get to some more good stuff, but it hasn't all been smooth sailing on your return back.
Now, that was Zoey Stark on Believe in Pro Wrestling podcast. She talked about her injury back in 2021 that she sustained. Now, Zoey Stark, we also know she has not been on the main roster that long. She joined the Raw roster back in 2023. She had a solid run at NXT. It's just sad that, she really get a chance to showcase her talent. It's been 2 years, and Zoey Stark really hasn't done anything significant on the main roster for that matter. All she was in a stable that's now disbanded since then, and now she's hurt. And it's the second time she's been hurt, so I'm just a little concerned. I'm thinking from what it looked like, it'd be an MCL, ACL injury. Just an educated guess, due to her history, because she blew out her knee real bad. Like I said, I know there's more information. They said that she's getting surgery right now as we speak. So hopefully she has successful surgery, and hopefully she get back soon. But it looks like she'll be out for maybe a good year. If it's an ACL, MCL injury, could be a year, could be 9 months, 10 months, whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is Zoey Stark will be out for a good minute. And we know WWE changes all the time the way the landscape is now, especially in the women's division. Hopefully, when she does heal up, WWE, my fear is they don't release her. And hopefully she'll have a career-ending injury where she cannot wrestle anymore and be forced to retire due to that injury. That's my fear with Zoey Stark right now. This is a very, very, very devastating move that just happened to her. So I don't know what else to say, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. She's 31 years old, and it seems like all these wrestlers, especially women, they're getting injury after injury after injury, and they're getting injuries much, much sooner in their career than later. So it seems like these wrestlers are not lasting as long. But I will say this, though. There is a doctor I know, he speaks about these type of injuries. And the doctor name, he's from Concord Orthopedics, Dr. Casey. He speaks on ACL and MCL injuries.
There's also a ligament that runs on the outside of the joint. But inside is where the ACL runs, and these sort of C-shaped pieces of gray tissue represent the menisci. The MCL is the most commonly injured ligament of the knee. But the good news is that 90+% of MCL injuries, when the MCL is injured, most of them will heal without surgery. And that's because the MCL is largely located outside the knee joint. Inside the knee joint, there's oil, which is really good for viscosity and for low friction, but very poor for healing. The MCL is located outside the joint and rich in blood. So there's a good blood supply that can get to the MCL, and MCL injuries often will heal. When people tear just an isolated MCL injury, we usually put them in a hinge knee brace and put them in some physical therapy for a little bit of time, but often those will heal 6 to 8 weeks. There's always exceptions to the rules, but most MCL injuries do very well. The ACL, on the other hand, is located inside the joint. And the ACL is bathed, again, in what we call synovial fluid, which is, we can think of as oil. Oil is good for movement and basically a frictionless lubrication surface, but bad for healing. There's not a rich blood supply, there's not oxygen, there's not nutrients to heal ACL injuries. So when people tear their ACLs, they often wind up with chronic instability or deficiency in stability of the knee. So what we have to do is drill holes through the bone, up into the joint, and pass a new tendon to create a new ACL for patients. Oftentimes we use part of their hamstring tendons or part of the middle third of the patella tendon to do that. ACL injuries, usually people wind up on crutches for 4 to 6 weeks. About half the time people tear their ACL, they can also have a meniscus injury, so we have to address that too. But ACL injuries are a long recovery. We used to say that at 6 months people could get back to sports. I would say that's now the minority of patients. It's more the 9-month, 10-month that it takes to get back to sports. If you look at pro athletes like Derrick Rose, who's an MVP of the NBA, it took him over a year to get back to playing after his ACL injury. And I use him as an example a lot because it's not as if he didn't have enough physical therapy. It's not as if he didn't get enough attention. It's just the biology of these healing take a long time. So the classic mechanism for an ACL is, as you said, non-contact. It's usually planting, turning, pivoting. Patients feel a pop in their knee. They have immediate swelling. They feel like they got shot. They go down. They can't keep playing. They tend to have a lot of swelling over the next day or two and wind up on crutches. Why are we seeing more ACLs now than maybe when I was a child and you were a child? There are people who have said that we play so much sports at a specialized age now. There's some hypothesis about that soccer players play soccer year-round and basketball players play basketball year-round. And so I think the fact that we subspecialize in sports at such an early age and we play so much of that leads us to putting ourselves at higher risk in fatigue, which can lead to injuries. A lot of times I see Little League baseball players, middle school, high school baseball players, and I say, did you take any time off? Or we're softball players too now. Do you take any time off? And they'll say to me, well, from Christmas to New Year's I took off, which is basically means they're throwing 50 out of 52 weeks a year. In the professional level, at professional sports, the Fisher Cat players, Toronto Blue Jays, most of those pitchers, when their season ends, they're mandated to take a couple months off, 2 or 3 months off. It's interesting, I always find it interesting that at the professional level, they embrace that time off to rest and recover. But at the lower levels, we think that if we throw more.
So that was Dr. Casey speaking on that. Once again, I'm not a doctor. It's not confirmed that she has an ACL, MCL injury, just a guess. So please don't come in here in the comments saying, oh, you're saying it's this, it's not that, trying to correct me and all that kind of nonsense. Just a guess. And I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that's what the case may be due to Zoey Stark's history. But hopefully that's not the case, but it did look pretty bad out there. And like I said, once again, I wish her a very, very well soon recovery. It's just, the landscape is real, real hot right now with all the wrestling, all the flipping, all the styles. And we've seen this, women getting injured, or more of the smaller women getting injured. That's probably why WWE has made a decision recently, if you guys noticed, to go with the powerhouse women like Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. They have the Raquel Rodriguez. They have women like that. They decide they're moving forward. They don't want to really go with the regular size female wrestler anymore because of the injuries, and it shows. But other than that, guys, that's the question. Is this the end of Zoey Stark's career? And we talking about Zoey Stark have a career and the injury. You guys let me know what you think of this injury that just happened on Monday Night Raw. Check out the video below for Toxic Race Scandal, aka KDH. Until then, guys, you already know what it is at this point. It's OUT.